the toolbox part 2. So in our part 1 we looked at the pen tool and its own set of tools. We looked at the type tools, we looked at the line and also these tools, the arc tools and so on, and also we looked at the shapes. So I will clear everything that we'll have here. So I'll press Ctrl A to select all. But if you want to select a particular item using the selection tool, just click on an item, just click by its stroke to select it, and then you can press the delete key on the keyboard. Otherwise, since I want to clear everything in my artboard, I'll press Ctrl A to select all, or alternatively you can click on edit, then you choose we don't have select all here, but you just press Ctrl A, then I press delete on my keyboard. So now we have the paintbrush tool. So we use the paintbrush tool to draw freehand thick lines. So if I click on my paintbrush tool, then you drag and drop, you can see I'm drawing a freehand object. So that is what we'll come up with. Also, the next one is the pencil tool. You can see we have a placeholder. So we have a pencil tool. If I click on my pencil tool and then you drag just like the brush, you notice that the line is a bit thin. The line is a bit thin, and you'll notice that also anchor points appear on the sides. Also, we have what we call the smooth tool. So we use the smooth tool if you want to smoothen an object, a freehand object. If you look at this pencil, if these are drawing that we drew with our pencil, you'll notice that it has quite a number of anchor points. So what we'll do is just reduce the anchor points. So we just drag along the line. So you can see this area that I've dragged, I've cleared the anchor points that are here, and I've also smoothened that particular object. I can do that one there as well. Yep. So we use the smooth tool if you want to smoothen an object. So if you smoothen an object at some point, your shape will change. Also, we have the path eraser tool that erases an object along its selected path. So if I choose a path eraser tool and then you place your pointer along the line, you just drag along the path and release your button, it will clear the segment that you have already deleted. Also, we have the blob brush tool. The blob brush tool, if we draw with the blob brush tool, it's the same as the brush, but you can see this time my line is more thicker compared to the paintbrush tool. Also, we have the eraser, scissors and knife tool. So we use the eraser tool to erase an object. So what you do, click on the eraser and then you can simply drag along the item that you want to erase. You can even erase this object here, just a segment of it like that. There we are. So you can see I've cleared that with the eraser. Even this one for the brush, you can clear that with the eraser as well. Apart from that, we have the scissors and the knife tool. So for me to use the scissors and the knife tools, we need to draw some shapes. So let's first of all clear all this. So I'll press Ctrl A, then I press delete to clear those objects. I can pick something like a rectangle tool. So this rectangle tool, we are going to apply color to it. So just click on your rectangle, just draw your rectangle like that. Now, if you look at this rectangle, it has got an outline. This outline is what we call stroke. If you want the stroke to be thicker, you can simply increase the stroke weight from here. So you can see the thickness of the line changes. If you want to give it a fill color, which is the inside color, because you notice that with my rectangle by default, it doesn't have an inside color, the fill color. So what you do, in this box that is adjacent to it, just click it and pick any color of your choice. It could be a color, it could be a gradient, it could be a pattern, and so on. So I can pick one of the colors of my choice. Maybe I can pick like that one, for instance. So you can see now my object is colored, my shape is colored. Now we are going to use the scissors and the knife tool. We are going to use the scissors and the knife tool, so they are here in this eraser category. So with my scissors tool, it enables you to split an object into two parts by selecting two distinct adjacent points. So if I click on my scissors tool, I happen to select a point like this one. So I can select a point like this one. You just ensure that your pointer, it's pointing on the anchor point. So you click on the anchor point, then you click on the adjacent point. You click on the opposite side. So if I click down here, then this is the adjacent point. So you just click that adjacent point like that. So to separate now the two objects, what you do, using a selection tool, now you can drag to split the two objects apart. So that is the scissors tool. So you can see the objects are split into two parts along a straight line. Also, we have the knife tool. So let's draw the same shape again. We see how the knife tool works. So I can draw my shape like that. Then I'll come and choose my knife. So with the knife tool, you have to drag from one point to the other, using from one point to the other. So if I'm using this part, then this will be the adjacent point. So I'll pick a point like this one. Then make sure your pointer is on the anchor point. Hold down the mouse button, then drag along the other anchor point. So make sure the other anchor point is selected. So you select it like that. Use your selection tool. You can deselect, and now you can separate your two objects like that. So you can see the difference between the scissors and the knife tool. So the scissors tool, it splits an object into two parts using a straight line. With the knife tool, it will create some sort of a freehand object. So you'll come up with something like that. So that is the difference between the scissors and the knife. So the next set of tools, we have the rotate and the reflect tool. So perhaps I can clear some of this. So I can select one, I delete, select that one. Maybe I can remain with this part here. I can even resize it using the anchor points. I can even resize it. There we are. So let's now come to the rotate tool. So we use the rotate tool to simply rotate an object. So you can rotate an object. So you just ensure that this rotation point is positioned where you want. So if I position it somewhere here, I just click maybe there. You can see my rotation point is here. So if I drag, you'll notice that now my shape will now be the midpoint. So that will be the midpoint, and you'll be able to rotate your object. Also, we have the reflect tool. We use the reflect tool to mirror an object. So what you do to create a mirrored object, just place your pointer on your object, hold down the left mouse button, and as you drag, you will discover something. You will discover that a mirrored object will be generated. That thin line that has no color. So the one that I'm dragging, that is the mirrored object. So you can see the original object, you can see the mirrored object. So if I release my pointer, then my object will be placed on the mirrored position. So the rotate tool is for rotating an object. The reflect tool is for mirroring an object. Also, we have what we call the scale tool. So we use the scale tool if you want to resize an object both vertically and horizontally at the same time. So if I place my pointer, let's say there, I hold down using my scale tool, you can see what is happening. You notice that the shape is resized both vertically and horizontally. You can even invert it so that it can face the opposite direction. You can even inverse it. Okay, so that's it. So maybe you can have something like that. That is the scale tool. We also have the shear tool. We use the shear tool to slant an object, so you can slant your object like that. So that is the shear tool. So you can slant your object either horizontally or vertically at the same time. Also, we have the reshape tool. We use the reshape tool if you want to reshape an object, but now this one you have to use it's like the direct selection tool. So just you can select your object, you can come and choose your, if I come here, I choose my reshape tool, I place my pointer there, it will not work because this is a, oh yeah, so there we are. So you can see my shape is changed. That is how you reshape an object. So we use the reshape tool to reshape an object. So in other words, you are changing the physical appearance of an object. So the next set of tools, so we have done the paintbrush tool, we have done the path eraser and this group of tools, we have done the blow brush, we have done the eraser, scissors and knife, we have also looked at the rotate, reflect, and also we have done the scale, shear and reshape tools respectively. So that marks the end of our second part of the toolbox. So in our part 3, we are going to look at these set of tools. We call them the warp tools. Otherwise, thank you very much and see you in our